Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the second CCB Skills Sem of the semester. Today, Graham Northrup will be presenting building a personal website with GitHub. Graham is a fourth-year PhD candidate in the Center for Computational Biology. He's co-advised by Mike Boots and Joe Lunard. He makes computational models, mathematical models for infectious diseases, and so on, epidemiology. And he loves the Detroit Tigers.
It's true. It's true. They're going to be good. They're making the playoffs next year. They are. They will.
The Lions. You like the Lions?
Yeah, they're not making the playoffs next year.
All around good guy. And with that, I'll let Graham take it away.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, we're doing this hybrid. So I'm keeping my eye on the chat and I can take questions here, but I'll just repeat them for the other half of what's going on. But we're doing it live. I've never done a hybrid seminar before, so bear with me. And if you, oh, amazing. Matt will help me out in cyberspace. Okay, so we are talking about making and hosting a personal website. And we're going to do that using Jekyll and GitHub Pages. And so just as a disclaimer, before we start, I am not a front-end developer, nor will I ever claim to be, nor will I ever be in the future, I don't think. This is a skill that I taught myself during the sort of like lulls of August 2020 when I was stuck in my apartment and I decided I needed a website. And so I sort of tinkered around with this stuff and figured it out. So the plan for today, we're going to do an introduction to Jekyll and sort of look at what the ingredients are for a website, and then how to host it on GitHub, which is quite easy, actually. If we have time, I'll talk a little bit about the Google Search Console, which I have some experience with because there's actually a Graham Northrup who is an actor who has grahamnorthrup.com. So I had to defeat him in search engine optimization. So I can share some tips with you on that. But the main goal for today will be to generate the scaffold of not a complete website, obviously, but a scaffold with pages and pictures in it, and show you how to host a CV and all of these sorts of things so that you could, in theory, take this and make a website out of it. Okay, so quickly, what is Jekyll? So Jekyll takes ingredients such as Markdown files, HTML or CSS, and all these things go in and a website comes out. You can't explain it. And it generates static sites so that we're not doing PHP, we're not dynamically generating web pages or anything like that. But the nice thing about Jekyll for me, one of the nice things is that it sort of hides a lot of the painful parts of building a website and allows you to focus on typing information about yourself and things like that. And the other reason to use Jekyll is GitHub Pages plays really nicely with it. So, if you want to host it on GitHub, it's kind of a one-horse game. So that's why we're using Jekyll, but this is what it is. But then, if CSS is scary or you don't, if you're like me and every time you try and write something in HTML, you just end up with 50 tabs open. You don't actually have to write that much of either of those. It takes Markdown files and it turns them into HTML most of the time, which is really great. Yeah, okay, so that's what Jekyll is. So when you get started, you're gonna need the following things. So Jekyll is written in Ruby, so you're gonna make sure that you have Ruby. I think you need at least version 2.5 currently. And then Ruby Gems, which is actually kind of the workhorse for Ruby. So in case you've never worked in Ruby before, they call all of their packages gems, which is kind of annoying, but that we deal with it. And then the other ingredients that we're going to need are Bundler and Jekyll. And so Bundler is wonderful. It takes care of all of the dependencies when you start putting your website together and you have all of these gems. And Bundler looks at all of the gems you have, looks at their dependencies, makes sure they're all up to date. And if they're not up to date, you can call bundle update and it will update everything. And it's really, really great. And then Jekyll is the other thing that you're going to need. So you can just run gem install Jekyll bundler and it should, in theory would work. One caveat for this is sometimes on Mac, Jekyll installs funny, and I don't actually understand what's going on under the hood here, but basically I think what's going on is Jekyll installs like in some sort of not root directory, and then when you go to call Jekyll, your computer's like, I have no idea what that is, even though you literally just installed it. So this gem install, and then you can specify a location for Jekyll, which is on most Macs. That's where it's going to go look for. Jekyll. So once you have all of these things, you're going to want to create an empty GitHub repository, and so you have a lot of flexibility when you do things in Jekyll. One of the things with GitHub Pages that you don't have flexibility over is the name of the website that you are putting together. It's going to be your GitHub username.github.io. And when you make your repository, you want your repository to have that same name. So GitHub knows that, this is a website, it knows where it's supposed to live, all of these things. So once you do that, in the repository, you run a couple of commands and you'll have a website. So we can do that together. Okay, so where's my website folder? Here we go. So we're gonna do it from scratch. If I can, what are we gonna call? Doing it live. Okay, so that's where our website is gonna live. So, okay, should we just make this nice and big so everybody can see it? Dude, we're gonna try. Okay, so we're gonna go to, what did we call it? Doing it live. Okay, and so you're gonna run Jekyll new this period here. If you're in the repository, you say, hey, do it here. Otherwise, you can make a Jekyll website anywhere on your machine. You just have to specify the path. And then you're going to want to use this flag -- force, because Jekyll complains about there being a README file in the repository when you try and make the website. So you use force to be like, it's okay, just put the files in there, don't worry about it. So if you do that, get my Zoom chat out of here. All right, here, let's move this down, move this back up to the top. All right, killing it. Okay, so what did we say we were going to run? Jekyll new force. And then it will think for a second, running bundle install. It's going to say, hey, you've got all this stuff that you need. And then the last thing that it tells you is that a new Jekyll site has been installed. And so if you go, there's all this stuff in this repository now that Jekyll just went ahead and made for you. And then you can call bundle exec Jekyll serve. And this is to run it locally. Like if you just you're doing some development or something like that, you say, all right, I just want to host it locally. All right, here's my, so if you go to your local host, all right, you have a website. Thanks everyone for coming. I really hope you enjoyed my talk. Yeah, so this is what Jekyll gives you when you just say, give me an empty website. And it has a title, and it says, hey, here's a post about Jekyll. And so Jekyll originally was designed for blogs mostly. And so it had the thing that it shows you how to do first is say, hey, you can have a list of all of your blog posts and your titles and things like that. And then, you have this running header, and so this is all that it gives you. And then down here is kind of your footer, and you can have an email and some links to your socials and stuff like that. So that this is pretty great. This is a pretty good start. Where are my slides? Okay, so I'm going to keep going back to the slides mostly because I put everything in the slides that I want to try and talk about. So I'm going to use it to remind myself what we're doing. So you called Jekyll new. It generated all of these files that do a bunch of things that you don't know what they do yet. And together it makes a basic website. So this is sort of an inventory of the things. Have y'all seen this error when trying to install Jekyll? Don't have permissions. I don't know about that. I do not know about that, unfortunately. Yeah, I always hate being on the other side of this because obviously my machine already has all of the right packages for everything. So I'm like, wow, look at how easy it is. And then you're like, oh crap, I'm getting some error message. So I apologize for that in advance. Okay. content. So the first couple of files here, your config file and your gem file, these are sort of ingredients that underpin everything. So if we go, where do I open things in Atom? I don't know. File, open. No, website. What did we call it? Doing it live. All right, we're gonna open this. All right, and so now we have access to everything. Okay, so this is the config file. How do I get this out somewhere where it's like not a pain? Okay, that's fine. And so so this is written in YAML, which is kind of like, it's not a cousin of JSON, but it's like another sort of, it has lots of keys and then pieces of information. And so this is where you can take things like, oh, actually, so when you serve your website locally, you're going to want to use this flag --watch. And what that will do is every time you make changes, then it will go and just automatically restart the website for you. So if you, so you change it, this is my website, ! And that we don't need a new email description. So this will show up in like if you Google search it, it'll be like the website that will pop up will be, this is my website. And then whatever you say for your description. I am making a website. Okay. I promise this is the only sort of like mysterious incantation that I'm going to tell you to do in the entire lecture, I think. Base URL. So when you want to host things on GitHub, your theme doesn't show up if you have this base URL line. So just comment it out. I don't know why that happens. Don't ask me why. But I spent several hours trying to figure that out. So I'm saving you the time. So yeah, comment out base URL. And then there's a couple of other ingredients here. So this is the theme. We'll talk more about themes later. And the default theme in Jekyll is this theme called Minima. It's very simple, very easy. And so this is the config file. The other file that's sort of key to everything is what's called the gem file. And this is the equivalent of sort of like a preamble. Like this is where you import all your packages that make the website run. So yeah, you need this gem Jekyll, and this syntax just makes sure that it's at least of some certain version. So themes in Jekyll are usually gems, which makes changing your theme really easy because it's as simple as just importing a package. And then there's a couple of the Jekyll feed. This is if you want to have, a big list of your blog posts, and then some stuff about doing this in Windows. It's kind of a pain to do in Windows apparently, but I've never experienced that. Okay, so that's the config file and the gem file. Both important, both sort of main ingredients. And now there's this sort of other class of files that show up in your directory: index.markdown, about.markdown, and 404.html. I won't show you 404.html because it's literally an HTML page. So basically, if you go to your fake website and you say, I want to go to my website / not a real page, then it will serve you this 404. And so you can make that say anything you want. You can be like, you stupid idiot, that's not a real website, or anything you want to say. And that lives in the 404.html file. And okay, so let's go back to a page that exists. Okay, so that's 404. The others that you have are index.markdown and about.markdown. And so your .markdown files are sort of how you specify what lives in a specific web page. And there's a couple of ingredients here. So at the top of your page, inside sort of triple dashes here is this is some YAML, and this is what's called the front matter. And so this is where you specify some sort of attributes about this page. So this is our about page. So every theme has some sort of layouts that you can use. And so the layout for this theme is going to be a page. You can also, the index page, that's not what I wanted to do. Its layout is just the home page. And then a title for the page, the about section. And then the permalink is, what the actual link is. So if you go to your website and you say my website / about, that's where your about page lives. So that you set that in the permalink section. And so and then index.markdown is sort of the home page. That's sort of the landing page with no other frills in the URL. You land here. So if you said, this is my homepage, blah, 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 save, and it'll reload it, and then you get some text on your website. Unfortunately, you still have the like, I'm not going to talk about posts. I'm not a blogger. If you're a blogger, there's like a ton of resources out there about how to use Jekyll for blogging. I'm going to teach you how to remove the blogs from your website. So if you just change the layout from home to page to match the about section, then it will remove that. But you notice it doesn't have a title, so we can call this the homepage, because why not? And so now, if you reload it, you get a title. This is my homepage, blah blah blah. And now, because it knows that this is a page, it's not sort of the main page. It'll throw it in your sort of navigation bar automatically.
Can you describe why Markdown is maybe easier to work with than HTML files?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Markdown is.
Graham,
okay.
Could you repeat the question really quick?
Yeah.
Graham, could you
repeat
repeat
the question in the chat, or was that a?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So the question from Adam. So for people in cyberspace, the question was why would we use Markdown files? Why would we not just write HTML files? And a lot of it has to do with just the syntax is a lot simpler. So let's say okay, so on your homepage, say you what do we want a picture of on our website? Anything? The Detroit Tigers. Great, good suggestion. Detroit Tigers. I'm gonna go get a picture of it of the Detroit Tigers. That's the Mets. Okay, so here, yeah, we're gonna save. Oh, that's a huge image. I want something smaller. That's fine. Save image as baseball. Oh no, wrong one. We're doing it live. So okay, so this this is like the CCB Skills example. That's what we're gonna get to. So if you have baseball.jpg and you save it, and so now you can go here and you could say I like baseball. And if you want an image, all you have to do here, let's make sure that it shows up on the exclamation point, and then this is some baseball player. It's kind of like and then you just link it, baseball.jpg. And so now in theory, we're doing it live, so we'll see what happens. But when I hit refresh, I like baseball. And it's very easy to get images to live on your website. So you can do this with lots of different types of things. So say you wanted a CV. If you wanted to host a CV, I have a dummy CV here. So let me go and find that, and then I can throw it inside the website. Example CV. Oh, I don't want to remove it. Let me make a duplicate. Okay, so then we go to doing it live. Oh, another sort of just good style point is it's good to put things like in folders, so you don't just have all these files rolling around. So we'll make a folder called files, and we'll put our CV in there. And then okay, so that we want to put it on the about page. So we say, okay, we can delete all of this stuff about like Jekyll documentation. Agreed. So if we delete all of this business and we say, I am Graham, I like baseball. Here is my CV. So say, okay. And so now you do it the same way, just the same Markdown syntax. So you put the thing you want to be clickable in square brackets, and then you put the link. In this case, it lives inside a files directory, and it's called example. Not example CV, example.cv.pdf. And so now we should be able to go to our website, and now our about page, I'm Graham, I like baseball, here's my CV. Crap. Everything was going so well. Files, example. Oh, it's because okay. Let's try it again. No. Yay, so now you can serve a CV on your website really easily using this same syntax of just putting files inside the directory. And so when you specify where it lives, and so then if you go and look at what's actually happening inside your sort of directory here, I mentioned the site. This folder, you don't really need to touch this folder. This is where your website actually lives. So if you go in here now, it says, hey, I've got an image in here. I have some assets. That's where my CSS lives, and I have some files, and that's where my PDF lives. But you're like, but I didn't make that files folder. I made this files folder. Yeah, that's because this is everything that lives inside _site. Jekyll deals with that. You never have to go in there and touch any of that. You just touch it inside your sort of website directory, and then Jekyll knows when it builds the site is the technical term that it needs to go and serve that to your website as well. Okay, so how are we doing here? So we have a website. You have a CV on it. You can put pictures on it. But right now we only have 2 pages. We have a home page and we have an about page. But something that you might want to do is make another page. And so we're going to make a new file. We're going to save it as so that we're making personal websites for academics. So we're gonna this one is going to be research.markdown. And so this is going to be a page where you talk about your current research maybe. And so you're going to save it. And so you got to remember your YAML front matter. So remember to, I usually just kidnap it from another page, so I remember what actually has to go in it. So yeah, we'll call the layout a page. That we're going to change the title because this is now a research page, and we'll make the link research. Very simple. And so you need something that lives on this web page maybe. So you can say I like to do research. I research baseball. I'm just on a baseball. This is a website about baseball. I don't know what to tell you. And so if you hit save, and so you go to your website. So Minima is very smart. It knows that it's supposed to put a research page in your in sort of your navigation bar. There are other themes that aren't that smart. And so when you make a page, the other thing you need to do is sort of update your navigation file, but I can talk about that later. But so now you have a website with 3 web pages, and you can click on it from the navigation bar. I like to do research. I research baseball. Another thing that you might want to do is create links to, so you have these sort of permanent links that live at the top, but you could also say, in your I like baseball. In fact, I like it so much that I do research on it. And so now you could create a link the same way that we created a link to the CV or something, but now we're linking to research. We're not linking to a file, we're linking to another place on our website. And so when you're linking internally, you sort of just assume that what lives before the slash is sort of the base URL for your website. So all you need to do is tell it /research. And so if we hit refresh over here, I like baseball. In fact, I like it so much that I do research on it. And you can click on that text and it will throw you, it's functionally equivalent to this link at the top of the page, but you can make your website have lots of links that talk to each other that way. If you want to link to something that lives outside your website, I look at baseball scores on ESPN, and you can link the same way, but now you need a full URL. Something like, I think this is ESPN's URL. And so now if we go over here, I look at baseball scores on ESPN, you should be able to click on ESPN and it will throw you to ESPN. So when you're linking externally, I made my website go away. Oh, it's because it was ESPN, so I thought it wasn't important. Okay, so I've just been taking you on a tour of things you can do in Jekyll. Are there questions about things that I've done so far that were maybe too quick or things like that? I'm going to check my slides and see how we're doing. So we added a page. We did that. We can serve images or files, and it's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so that is a question. Okay, so the question for cyberspace is, how do you reorder the links in your header? And in Minima, in the sort of base theme, you can't. It just takes them and it pops them up there alphabetically. But how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good. Because the next thing I'm going to talk about is themes. And when you pick a new theme, one of the things that you get to sort of, a lot of themes don't automatically create this for you. And so you have to go and create a navigation bar. And then you can sort the order of your links by how you put together the YAML that you basically, create these links inside. So I'll do a quick example of that in a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to show the spot if it's not, if it's always attached. Can you put math in the page?
Math?
LaTeX?
Ooh, yes.
Graham, question.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is, can you put math on your website? The answer is almost certainly yes. I'm assuming that is a gem, and I've never done it on my website. And so if I was going to show you how to do it, the first thing I would do is Google LaTeX on a Jekyll website. And then I'm sure there's some, so this is another really good thing about using Jekyll, is that it's actually extremely well documented. And it's open source. It's really, the community, it's not super big, but they're really, really into using Jekyll. So there's not I have never Googled something and found like an open Stack Overflow on it. There's always people that are like, hey, this worked for me or something like this. So yeah, not going to do a LaTeX demonstration because we're doing it live and I didn't prepare one, but don't Markdown files recognize LaTeX? Yeah, okay. So Markdown files recognize LaTeX. This is my understanding of how Jekyll works. I'm now wandering sort of into the edges of my expertise. So if you were to view a Markdown file, as if you're your GitHub README, right? That's a Markdown file and GitHub knows how to take that. But the tricky thing here is that your Markdown has to be taken and turned into an HTML file, and Jekyll does that. So Jekyll needs some instructions on how to take your Markdown and turn it into something that looks like LaTeX is my...
Yeah, so I think there's many different Markdown parsers.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of them might have this JavaScript to make the map.
Yeah. So right, that's one of that's potentially a hiccup, but my intuition is that it would not be that hard to do it. Don't take my word on that. If it turns out to be really hard, don't come after me or anything. But yeah, okay. So okay, add a new page. So, okay, regarding themes. So the theme that Jekyll gives you by default, Minima, is a gem. So we saw that in our gem file. You sort of tell Jekyll that you're going to use Minima, and then in the config file is where you say, hey, this is what my theme is going to be. So there's tons of gems. There's so many Jekyll themes that are that exist as gems. They're on websites like jekyllthemes.org and things like this, and you can go and find them, and they're really easy. But there are also sites where people have just spent a lot of time tinkering in Jekyll, and it's not a gem, but you can just fork their repository and credit them, obviously, hey, I styled this after so-and-so's website, but change the actual information on the website, because it's open source and people are excited to do that. So I'm going to go through quickly how to change your theme. We're going to do that together. So you got to go to your gem file, and crap, I think it's called minimal mistakes. That's not how you, is that Jekyll? So we're going to call a new gem. I don't know anything about the versions, but this is fine. So we do that. And then in our config file, now, instead of theme minima, we're going to say theme minimal mistakes Jekyll. And so when you alter the config file, where the heck is my terminal window? Did I close it? Oh no, I minimized it. Here we go. Hello, terminal. Thank you. Okay, So when you update things in your config file, the watch flag doesn't know how to do that because you might have changed the entire theme. It's not going to remake the whole website for you. So you got to just start over, bundle exec Jekyll serve. And so now we get a bunch of warnings. Layout post this new theme doesn't have a layout called post, and this new theme doesn't have a layout called page. But it's still serving you a website. And okay, so what does our website look like now? So there's now no formatting. It gives you Times New Roman, no header, no footer, and our image is now really big and all. So we need to do something about these build warnings about our layout. So if we go into index and we say, so you gotta, okay, what layouts exist for this? So what minimal mistakes, Jekyll. So you can go, right, all of these gems exist on GitHub. So you can go into the layouts and you can say, what layouts exist? Wow, there's a lot of them. But there's one called default. Let's try default. Let's see what the default layout is. So now we get one less build warning because we've changed the layout of one of the pages. And if we reload, now we get a header. This is my website. It does this, and now we have a little footer down here, but it's different. Oh, and here's where we downloaded baseball. This is my website powered by Jekyll, and then Minimal Mistakes is the name of this theme. But so if you notice, there's no header here. So we're going to talk about that. But first, okay, we decided the default page looks fine. Default, we'll change this page to default. So now, okay, so it says, yeah, I don't know what a post is, and that's fine. I'm not teaching you about posts. I'm going to completely ignore that. So if we refresh it, nothing's changed, but the pages still exist. There's just no links that maybe make them talk to each other. Except for, we do have a link about our research page, so you can click on this and it will serve you the research page. Or, like you go to your about section, your CV still lives on your website. It's just you're missing some links and things like this. So how do we fix this? Okay, where is my, so, okay, going into doing it live. So we're gonna need a new directory. And this one is underscore, that's not underscore data. Another directory that we don't, that is important to Jekyll, but maybe not to us. And we're gonna make a new file.
Hey, Graham.
And we're gonna call it navigation.yaml.
Hey, Graham.
Yes.
Really quick question in the chat. Could you just show us really quick again what line you changed to change the theme?
Yes, absolutely. So the question was, where did I actually change the theme? What did I change in my Jekyll website that made the theme different? And so I did that in two places. The first place I did that was in the gem file. I called this gem minimal mistakes. And then the other place I did that was in the config file under build settings. There's this line theme minima. I've commented that out, line 31, and I've added a new line minimal mistakes Jekyll. And so if you do this and you've never done this before and you try and build your website, Bundler will yell at you because it's never seen minimal mistakes Jekyll before. So you have to run bundle install, and then it will go and get all of the dependencies for minimal, and then it will make sure that you're allowed to use minimal mistakes. Yes. No, you could comment. This is like, you ever have like R files or LaTeX files where your preamble is like millions of lines long, but you don't actually use everything that this is just like importing packages basically. So you don't need, I could comment this out and in theory it would still run perfectly fine, but I can call them both. And then if I want to flip between the two, then I don't have to, I can, it's maybe bad style, like maybe someone who's really good at this would yell at me. So the question, sorry for the chat, was, is minimal mistakes Jekyll a sub package of minima or anything like this? And I was explaining how, no, you could comment this out. It's its own, it's a strong independent gem that doesn't need a dependency. Well, that's not true. It needs a lot of dependencies, but yes. Yeah, so the gem file is important. So bundle uses the gem file. So when you everything you call bundle with, like bundle install, or if you call bundle update, bundle goes and looks at your gem file and it looks at all of the gems and it says, do I have the latest version of this? Yes, no, etc. Yes, so that's what's happening with the gem file and the config. Okay, so what was I doing? I was making I was making a navigation bar. Okay, so we have navigation dot YAML, and so this is a YAML file, and this is gonna test my so you're gonna have title, about, and okay, I think we need a space here, and then you tab, yep, okay, URL, and we'll call this about. So now, in theory, are you gonna rebuild? I don't remember. Did I save you? Why are you not working? Okay. Let me go get my navigation file from the version that actually works. We'll just do it that way. It's lazy, but it's fine. Data. What's in you? Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Okay. So now, why? Oh my word. Okay. Dang it, we were doing so well too, man. Did I misname it or something? I don't know. Underscore data, doing it live, underscore data. Oh, I saved it in the wrong place. Where did I say? Oh, I just saved it in the go in there. Be gone. All right. Fingers crossed. There it is. So now you have, this navigation file, apologizing for my brief interlude. I did actually get the syntax right. I just saved the file in the wrong spot. So this is where, there was a question earlier about how do you sort the order of the links that appear on your navigation bar. So you just switch the order of them in your navigation file. So we have about, research, and then CV at the end. And if you about, research, and then CV at the end. And so this YAML file, right? So each thing comes in pairs. So title, this is what shows up in the actual navigation bar, and then the URL is where it actually sends you. And so this, I think most of the time you use this for internal links, just because that's kind of what you expect a website to do. But you could totally you could make something like, I actually don't know if you could, like if you said like ESPN, and then you could make a URL, like if you wanted ESPN to be on the header of your website, you could do that. But the navigation file, so what happens is then Jekyll goes and it looks at the navigation file and it knows to formulate a header that contains links to all of these things on every page, right? So similar to what we saw on the last the minima theme, but we needed to do a little extra work to get our navigation bar to show up. And so this is one of the more, like, most themes will not just automatically make a navigation bar for you. You need to go and make a navigation.yaml file and store it in data. Okay, regarding themes. Okay, yes, careful. Some themes ask you to specify a navigation header. And you need to store it in underscore data, not in the I actually did that on purpose because I wanted to remind you that that's how you do that. Okay, how do I get this on the web? So assuming you've done all of this inside a repository that is connected to your GitHub and it has the name, your GitHub username.github.io, commit and push all of this stuff to GitHub. And then once your built site lands on GitHub, all you got to do, so this is the example. So I put this together yesterday. So in case the live demonstration went terribly, I could just sort of speak off of this. So you want to go into settings, and there's a pages setting. And GitHub Pages. So it's telling me my site is already published because I already went ahead and did this. So you can go and look at the one I put together. And the example website that I put together lives at gnorthrup.github.io/CCB Skills example. This is because gnorthrup.github.io is the name of my actual website, and GitHub only gives you one URL. So I had to build it sort of off of the end. But you can go and look in here, and I've sort of included some reminders about syntax and things like this. Okay, yeah, so GitHub Pages. So my site is published here. So you have to specify where your site is. So I say, all right, it's on my main branch. It's in the root directory. I'm a very simple guy. I'm not doing anything fancy. They also give you this theme chooser. I have had almost no success getting the theme chooser to work. I just prefer to import. I prefer to install gems and change the gem in my config file. Because what this tries to do is if you use the theme chooser, it will go and it will change your config file so that it's theme, whatever, but it doesn't do, and I found that it doesn't do any of the other like handling to like actually make sure that you can do these things. This has to do with, there's like a gem called GitHub Pages that it's not actually required to do things on GitHub Pages, but I think is part of one of the ingredients for getting the theme chooser to work. But it scares me, and I don't like changing files in Git because then you have merge conflicts when you go and try and actually push your pull things. And I don't like merge conflicts. I'm lazy. Custom domains. So this is just my website. It lives here. I've not used a custom URL or anything like this. But in Pages, there's space for, hey, I can't purchase grahamnorthrup.com. Some 45-year-old actor beat me to it. But if I purchased grahamnorthrup.net or something, or gnorthrup.com or something like that, you can put that in here. And then there's pretty good documentation on GitHub Pages side of things for making sure the DNS knows that you own this custom domain, and then GitHub knows that you own it and all of these things. So this is where you would change your domain. And this used to be an option. You don't get to choose anymore. You have to enforce HTTP. You have to enforce extra security. So once you have your repository, right? And so we have the data, posts, files. I put my pictures inside an images file in this example. You have all of this stuff, and then you can just go to where, what did I say the URL for this website was? CCB Skills example. Yeah, I made a website. And it has the same example CV, links to, that's not good. This links to my actual website about me page, not the one that I made for. Okay, I'll change that after this so that you don't have to worry about that. That's just a problem stemming from the fact that I've tried to host two websites on the same domain, so I apologize for that. If you just forked this website and hosted it and you served it from your own GitHub Pages, it would not link to my about page. It's just because I've done the trick of truncating the URL, and then it thinks that it's supposed to fill it in with like my actual website, not the CCB Skills example one. So throwing it up on GitHub is frankly like almost painless, assuming you've named your repository correctly and have let Jekyll, like if you're trying to like cobble it together and somewhat you're taking pieces from things, sometimes you don't have all the ingredients. But if you just use if you just did the Jekyll new site and you push that into Git, it should show up. You should have a website living at your GitHub Pages website. It's pretty straightforward. So can I borrow the website you worked on today? Yes. I put an example at gnorthrup.github.io/CCB Skills example, so you can look at that website, and then link the Git on the. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And so then in the README, I have just a brief okay, so you got to remember to have these things. This is how you run it locally. This is how you host it. And then I've commented out the minimal mistakes theme but I've included the ingredients for that if you want to use that. But the example website just uses the minima theme. Okay, so that's a crash course in Jekyll. I've got a few minutes left, and I have exactly 2 tips for you on search engine optimization. So we're gonna come in right on time. So the Google Search Console. So I'm not gonna talk about Google Analytics because it's scary and you can learn a lot of things, but also like 10 people visit my website every month, and like 5 of them are my mom. So I'm not actually learning anything from Google Analytics. But the Google search, like if you're anything like me, like people like you go and see a talk and I have no idea who this person is, and I Google you, right? And so, you know, if I Google Graham Northrup, yeah, it's a recent search because I was checking. You know, okay, so you get some links that show up, and haha, we've defeated Graham Northrup, acting coach, on Google. And so there's 2 sort of things that I've done here. So the Google Search Console is really excellent. It's pretty easy to set up. The one thing that they need you to do is getting the Google Search Console set up helps your website, because Google then knows that it's like not spam and it's not some like automatically generated thing, but it's like, no, like I'm a person, this is my website, I take care of it, I'm not trying to like trick people into doing anything. And so the way that I tell Google this is, so this is I've got a lot of things in my repository for my website, but I have this Google blah, 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 .html file that they gave me. And this is just a verification file that Google goes and looks for. And they gave it to me, and then they go and look to see if I actually put it on my website to prove that I'm the person who actually owns this website. Once you do that, Google says, hey, and they give you a little boost in Google search engine optimization. The other thing that you can do is make sure you link your website to every other place that you exist on the internet. If you have a Google Scholar, link your homepage. If you have a Twitter, link your website. I think you can link it on Facebook. I have it on the CCB website under my little profile. And so basically the way that Google, gross oversimplification of the Google search algorithm, the more places that link to your website and the more that Google thinks that your website is more important if more people are linking to you and those sorts of things. So you can sort of seed that by linking to your own website in several other places. And frankly, that can provide a big boost. So that's the search engine. Yeah, I'm happy to take more questions if there's time. If you have specific, how do I do specific things in Jekyll? Maybe I can help, or if I, errors, a lot of errors is just like bundle yelling at you. That's not too bad in my experience, but yeah, thanks for following along if you did, or listening if you didn't. And yeah, that's it.
So thank you, Graham. So we have pizza in the atrium downstairs for right after this, but we also have a poll that we would want everyone to take. Matt, do you have the
Yeah, I think he dropped it
URL?
in the chat.
I think we'll figure out how to send it to everyone who's in here, like email.
Yeah, I think we have everyone's email addresses that registered, so we should be able to send it out.
So we do appreciate if you fill out the poll and like give us topics for what you're interested in learning about next. And yeah, and we have another talk next month about using Seurat for single cell RNA-seq analysis. And then one more for the rest of the semester, and then we'll be back next semester. So yeah, we can mosey on to the
let's do it.
Pizza.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Graham. That was awesome.